So since we've been doing these podcasts and we look at the video, because we're, you know, for those who are listening and not watching on IGTV, we have like a video monitor in front of us so that when we have guests, we can interact with them and do all that stuff. So I've noticed that I feel like I look like a pug.
A pug? Like the dog?
Like a dog.
What? Why? What?
I don't know. I feel like I look like a pug. And I keep looking at myself and I don't. And I feel like I have a lot of makeup on today. Like I have.
Pug though?
I don't know. Like I feel like I look like a pug. And I was just looking at myself and I'm like,
No,
it's true. So every time I'm in it,
you're crying. You have actual tears coming out of your eyes right now.
oh my gosh, but it's so funny. It's I don't know if it's the headphones or the light or like because I don't have like a defined chin.
Oh no, I don't
the
have a
thing.
defined chin either. And so when I watched
my
watching
gosh.
back our first like streams, I was like, oh my God, that's what other people see.
God, like I don't have that like Natalie Portman, Charlize Theron like perfect. I've never had like a
Just
good.
suck on your tongue when you're not talking.
It doesn't do anything about this. Like, I look like I'm a pug. A pug. I'm like a pug. Like I have no neck. Maybe a French bull. I don't know. They're more expensive right now. I don't know. But oh my gosh, I can't stand it. So every time we get in here, I just have to get over myself and be like, whatever.
You just got to accept it.
Yeah, seriously, because I put makeup on today. I look like I have no makeup on today. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Oh my
recover
God.
from that moment. It is so true. Oh gosh. That's like when we were looking at the Winnie the Pooh thing.
Oh, that was
the other day. Which is actually okay, so we want to talk about like rules today and why we don't follow rules. But if we think about Winnie the Pooh and what we were talking about, everybody, is that we were looking at the Winnie the Pooh like images and their whole little team and how we all like to support each other and we support each other as a team. And there was the one, I don't know if everybody remembers this from when they were a kid or if you're a Winnie the Pooh person, but there's Winnie the Pooh. He's eaten too much honey, story of my life, COVID, whatever. I ate too much. And he tries to go visit Rabbit and go out Rabbit's hole and he gets stuck. And his little fanny is in Rabbit's house and his little face is outside and he's just stuck halfway in and out. And so his friends are trying to pull him out and Rabbit is super annoyed. And so Rabbit just starts painting a face on his little fanny.
And then he sets up like a little mantle under and puts antlers on Winnie's butt too.
Like he was like a mounted deer. Like, oh my gosh, it's
just
too funny.
decoration.
Just decoration. So you kind of just work with what you got.
Exactly.
Right? And you kind of live in that moment like, hey, today I look like a pug. I don't know.
Just embrace it.
It's just, you know, that's where I am today. So we did want to talk about rules today and how I came up with I look like a pug from that. I don't know. But we are not rule followers. If you have not figured that out yet, Amelia and I both have a lot of colorful hair, change it a lot. I was just joking. I'm facing the camera. I kind of look like Pat Benatar today as well. I've got kind of a Pat Benatar thing going on. If you're under, I don't know, a certain age, you probably don't even know who that is. But yeah, I feel like I've got that like Pat Benatar thing going on. But anyhow, we don't follow a lot of rules, I don't think. And I think it's a funny thing. There are all these rules flying around and I was having a conversation with someone the other day and she was like, oh, I can't do winged eyeliner because my eye shape isn't right. And I thought, well, that's crazy. Anyone can do winged eyeliner. You just have to figure out how it works for you and how it works for your eye. And somebody else was complaining about having a hooded eye. And I thought, well, her eyes looked like regular eyes to me. I mean, I suppose there are heavily hooded eyes, certainly.
Yeah.
Where someone's, eyelid, the top of their eyelid actually is hidden in the fold of when they blink up, not when they blink down or when their eye is open. So that's what a hooded eye is. But some people, there's that thing called mono eye where they have almost no crease in their eye, which tends to be that really almond shaped eye.
Yeah.
But is that a rule?
No, I think stuff like that is just so like limiting towards people.
Right.
And it just like puts people into a category when they don't need to be.
Sorry, coffee. But yeah, and I was thinking about that because it kind of made me sad. And I don't know, do they make these articles anymore where they would say, here's what you should wear when you're 20. Here's what you should wear when you're 30.
My whole notebook right now is full of those rules.
What are some of the ones?
So like one of them, and I won't say where these come from just because I don't know.
We know. We all know where they come from.
The one, there was two that went back to back and they just completely like contradict each other. It was so these were rules too, I guess I should say, that are more focused towards like teenagers and then people in their 20s.
Okay.
So the first rule was opt for like a sheer coverage foundation. But then the second rule was color correct for any dark circles or imperfections. And I so sheer coverage.
So first of all, let's talk about color correcting.
Yes.
Because I think that's a word that's thrown around and color correcting is not the same as just cover up.
No, correct. Color correcting is like, if you think of like the color wheel, when you have like dark circles, the opposite end of the color wheel would be like a peach or like a pink. And you like correct your dark circles with like the opposite end. Or like if you have blemishes in your skin, so those are usually red, the opposite end of the color wheel of green, or excuse me, of red is green. There we go. And so you would color correct your red marks with like a green product. But like, then you have to cover up the color that you put on your face.
Which is a lot. We did that thing one time where we did the color correction with just concealer and red lipstick.
Yeah, because a lot of people will they don't want to go out and get like a peach color corrector. They just like, I shouldn't say a lot of people. That was just like a thing on the internet for a minute. People just started using red lipstick as a color corrector, which I guess if you're in a pinch would work. But how can you say opt for sheer coverage? Because in theory right now, our skin is as supple and beautiful as it's ever going to be. So don't cover it up with foundation, but color correct it somehow and then cover it up with that sheer coverage foundation.
Which makes it, you can't cover that up with sheer coverage.
No.
Which is crazy. So as a makeup artist, what would you suggest? I know what I like to do, but I know you've done all the baking and the stuff and the things for like that correction. And we got that great tip from Kendra about
with the
like
eye primer on your blemishes.
On a blemish or, in a particularly troublesome spot. So what are some of the things that you do to conceal?
So I like to conceal with more of like, instead of a liquid, concealer, I like to use a like cream based one because they tend to stay a little bit creamier and they don't dry down as quickly on your skin. So that way you don't get that like peely, patching, scabby look on breakouts. So that's number one. And two is like priming the skin and making sure that you're actually like prepping your skin before you just like slam makeup down on it.
Well, so that's kind of myth number two, that acneic skin is oily skin.
True.
Which is kind of myth number two. And rule, like following these rules for acneic skin, like literally every skin type is so different. So when it comes to that like sheer coverage versus heavy coverage, color correct or not color correct. So for someone my age, I have women come in all the time saying like, oh, I'm not supposed to use this or I shouldn't use that. Like, okay, so are there some rules of thumb? Sure. If you're drier on the spectrum, which people tend to become drier at a certain point as they get older, I think it's probably like, I don't know, like in the middle somewhere you start to get drier, even if you were oily. So you know, if you're starting to get drier, you don't need powder anymore. Like it's kind of unnecessary unless you're doing like a quick set or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's all about how you pick your product up, right? So you don't need to be like the vintage movie star with the big puff and go poof,
Yeah.
right? Like boom into your face with this big powder puff of product.
Yeah.
Which is that whole dripping it on the skin thing that
we
we've talked
about.
Yeah. It makes me crazy.
Yeah.
So, you know, is that a rule or is that just more of a suggestion?
I mean, I feel like all of this is just suggestion.
Yeah.
Because like some girls, like, I don't know, even young girls who have beautiful skin, I feel like the art of putting on makeup is sometimes like not opting for sheer coverage. Like I want to put on foundation. And when I want to put on foundation, I'm going to put on a full coverage foundation.
Right. And I've been playing too. So, you know, that whole like, oh, if you're over blah, 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 you should do only like medium to light coverage and less is more. And I think, so I'll never forget, I was at this event years ago. It was like a donors event at the Smithsonian. And she was the chairman of this board for this museum. And she was very much the host. And she came storming up to me because she was flipping out about something. I don't remember. It was actually talking about a pug. She was like, and it was my job to fix it. And I remember looking at her, and we were probably about halfway to 2/3 of the way through the event. So she'd probably put her makeup on hours before. This woman was an older woman, definitely. And I was looking at her, basically yelling at me. Every crack in her face, every time she moved her face, it looked like her skin was cracking. That's how much product she had on and how much makeup. And so I get why people say like the older you get, less is more, blah, blah, blah. But lately I've been playing, and I realize I'm certainly not her age, but I'm certainly not your age. I've been playing more with the heavier foundations, like RMS has a beautiful foundation, and it is hella full coverage all day long. If you just put that straight on your skin, you have to really warm it up. You have to really move it around. But I have found lately mixing it with their oil or mixing it with that Atelier primer on the back of my hand before I put it on my face, it really, like I have it on today. Can you tell?
No.
Right?
I mean, like your skin, like, and
I don't look like I'm in full coverage.
At your forehead right now. It doesn't look like full coverage. Like it maybe looks like you put on like a tinted moisturizer.
Right. And that is kind of cool because that is a really full coverage foundation. So I think, you know, these rules are made as suggestions, not rules. I mean, it's a suggestion, certainly, and they're all going to contradict each other.
Right.
And you have to think about it for your skin, what you're doing, where you're going. I mean, I don't feel like I look like I have heavy coverage. And then I can go back and tap out with that heavier product as my concealer. Yeah. So it's a 2-for-1 kind of product.
And just double up on the areas that you have like maybe a little extra redness or something that you want to cover. Yeah.
Right. Which is kind of cool. But I mean, this idea of rules is kind of driving me crazy right now because I feel like everyone who comes to speak to us has some like, oh, I can't wear red lipstick because I'm older.
Like a limitation that they put on themselves.
Right.
And because then when we ask them, well, why? Why can't you do that? Well, I just never have.
Right.
Okay. Well.
Right. And also, if you never have, that's one thing. That's not a rule. That's you.
Yeah.
It's not that you can say like, well, I don't like that. But if you really want to try it,
go for it.
Try it. And sometimes you can try and fail. Sometimes, and we have both, even with our hair, tried and failed. I mean, COVID was like the perfect time where we,
at-home bleach kits.
At-home bleach kits, at-home color. But we just dove right in, right?
Yeah.
And I was a multi-rainbow kind of girl through COVID.
I can't even remember. I think I had yellow.
You did yellow.
I can't even.
I feel like you also did like that orangey red kind of color.
Yeah.
Right.
Like a more like a hot orange.
Yeah.
A neon orange.
Yeah,
I guess
it was
is the word I
or fiery orange. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think You just have to try. And if that was kind of a lesson that I guess we could come out of this whole time frame with is just try, I think it is.
I will say the one rule that I've read with a lot of places, I don't want to say like it is something you should try. I feel like it's something you should avoid. So I know, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't do this. So the rule is you should always wash your face before you go to bed. Right?
I know where you're going. Yeah.
And that is, yes, you should totally do that. But then I also, like, I see on like beauty blogs and like, I've seen this in a few YouTube like shows, whatever, episodes, I guess. I don't know. Videos, I guess that's the word I wanted. YouTube videos. Where they say like, oh, but if you're sometimes lazy about washing your face, just keep some makeup wipes by your bedside.
That sounds like a disaster.
And I just need everyone to know that makeup wipes are not the same thing as washing your face.
Were they suggesting that in the thing?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So let's debunk makeup wipes right now.
Yes, please.
Makeup wipes are great. Let's say I'm at work and I want to go grab a yoga class at lunch, or I want to go to Soul Cycle, right after work. Well, if I have my like work, I'm air quoting, work makeup on, and I want to go work out, I look kind of silly working out, and that would all run into my eyes and that would be uncomfortable. So a makeup wipe, fantastico. I can just do a quick like swipe across my eyes, maybe around my face real quick to like get any heavy stuff off.
Yeah.
And then I'm good to go. It's not all over me. I don't look like a disaster. It's not going to drip and get in my face, on my eyes. That's where I think makeup wipes shine. I think they're a disaster for cleaning your face.
Yeah, literally. So 99% of like, I read this statistic online, so I don't know how accurate it actually is. But 99% of makeup wipes, like the texture of them is harsh enough to be considered like a physical exfoliant. And you're going in there every single night and just scrubbing your eyes, which is going to cause micro tears in your skin, which is just going to cause like premature aging for your skin.
Let's talk about eyelashes then too, because that's the thing I realized. So as a product of the like 80s, when I started wearing makeup in the 80s, dating myself, as I gently pet my little baby eyelashes, my eyelashes, because at the time my mom was not a makeup person. And so I was allowed to wear blush and mascara. Those were like the two things I could wear, which is funny because I have the Irish skin. So I generally always had kind of pinky cheeks. So I didn't really need blush, but I think my mom was like, well, you can wear blush. That seemed safe somehow to my mother's like non-makeup wearing brain. But the mascara, whatever, that was like a big win for me that I could do the mascara. And then she'd let me go to all the makeup classes. I just couldn't wear it. And I could take it home and play with it. But back then, I don't think any of us really thought, well, I mean, there were cleansers. I bought all really nice stuff. I remember I had some Chanel cleanser and some really nice things. But they all did require like a washcloth or a scrub, and the mascara was really tenacious. So I would like go at my eyelashes to get everything off.
And then you'd lose like 10.
I have the finest eyelashes. And that's true too with the eyelash extensions. It's like putting acrylics on your nails. It's stunning. It's gorgeous. Like, wow.
But it's going to cause damage.
Over time. Yeah. The more and more you do it, it's all going to get very thin. And so on my little tiny thin eyelashes, when I did extensions, of course, like every 3 months I had to stop because there was hardly anything left to glue my eyelashes to. And so I've noticed now that all the oil cleansing is a huge thing. I mean, there's so many, like that Hayoma
is so beautiful.
Oh my gosh. So Hayoma is this wonderful line, for those of you who don't know it, that is somewhat new. And they are a skincare line with the ingredient of CBD. And it's a calming ingredient, which is great. Kind of like people put chamomile or rosehip in things. CBD adds that calming element as well. And their cleansing balm is my jam right now because I smear that on my face. I don't have to rub hard. I immediately like take my little dollop, my like, I don't know, pea-sized dollop.
Yeah, you need like none of it.
Nothing.
It lasts forever.
It's
and
like
it's
the
like
endless,
such a huge container.
Huge. That's what costs so much, but it literally lasts me forever. And I take that like little bit and I smear it all over my face so I look like I was in a, you know, like a horror movie.
Yeah.
And then I take a hot washcloth and I just literally one pass on my face. Don't even
gone.
scrub with a really wet washcloth. Gone. Done.
Well, that's like
amazing.
another thing about like the makeup wipes. They're formulated to break down makeup. They're not formulated to like wash your face.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the same thing.
Right.
So even if you feel like everything's off your skin, but you still just have like a film of this like gunk left on your skin because they're not designed to like remove organic stuff from your face. Organic just meaning your dead skin cells, the sebum, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the oil.
Like,
oil breaks up oil,
yeah.
right? That's why oil cleanses have become such a big thing.
Yep.
So even if you have oily skin, there's no rule to say you can't use an oil cleanser. You just probably need to follow it up with a great toner and a swipe of something that will, you know, lift some of the residue oil.
Also, they I didn't really realize this before, and I guess I don't know why I didn't really realize it, but you have a thing on your skin called your acid mantle, which basically is just like a protective layer of your skin. It just keeps junk out, keeps moisture in. Without a like acid mantle, you're more susceptible to just like bacteria and viruses.
So that's your microbiome, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing.
Yep. It slowly, makeup wipes over time slowly destroy your acid mantle too.
Crazy. But it makes sense because if you're constantly stripping and toning your face, the bacteria in your skin doesn't have a chance to build up. And we all need that good bacteria, which goes to probiotics in skincare.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I think we will probably bring on, there's a really cool groundbreaking probiotic line that is about to launch. And we'll probably talk to them at some point.
Yeah.
But that whole idea of probiotics, and we got a huge lesson from the scientist who was developing that line about how kind of like in your stomach, when you take probiotics, it kind of balances things out. You replace the good bacteria. That's why people want to eat yogurt.
Yeah.
That's why it's so great to eat yogurt and keep like bacteria going. If you're constantly over sanitizing and stripping your skin, it's where acneic problems come from and all that stuff. And irritation for sure. So, I mean, the double cleanse thing I think is an amazing byproduct, and it has helped my eyelashes over time. I mean, I'll never have like fluffy full eyelashes. I was at the bank the other day and I just had a total moment. I was watching this girl do my banking, you know, she was the teller or whatever, and I was looking at her and she had these Bambi lashes and I just was like, man.
Are they natural?
Oh, totally natural.
Oh.
Because she had hardly any makeup on. I was like, your eyelashes are gorgeous. She's like, oh, I just use a little bit of mascara. I'm like,
of course.
Right, of course.
And I'm over here. I've been
Like,
using rapid lash serum for the last 2 years.
Right, trying to get your eyelashes to grow. I know.
Although I have been using it in my eyebrows, which I don't know if I'm supposed to do.
Well, they have a similar, it's for everyone listening, that it's a drugstore line.
Yeah.
That you can buy at like CVS or Rite Aid. And it isn't as aggressive with the chemicals as like a Latisse. And because you can buy it over the counter, and it actually really, really works. It's amazing.
I know my eyebrows, like, I like literally have to cut them weekly.
Yeah, no, it is really amazing. It worked for my eyelashes when they were all broken off from lash extensions, and you have to replace that tube every couple of months because I think it becomes less active, as with so many things.
Yeah. And like as soon as you stop using it, obviously it's like over. But
yeah,
as long as you keep up with it, it's good.
As long as you keep up with it. Yeah, it is kind of over when, when you stop because your eyelashes kind of go back to normal. But it is a funny thing, these rules. And, you know, I was thinking about a few other ones that, like when I was younger, I remember wearing black. That was not a thing to wear all black. Well, I hadn't moved to New York yet. So, you know, once I hit New York, I clearly had found my people. Clearly my people are either New Yorkers or Parisians because they wear a lot of black with like a touch of something fabulous. So for sure, those are my people. Maybe if I lived in a past life, maybe I immigrated from Paris to New York or something like that. I must have some deep spiritual connection to those places. But yeah, when I was younger, like in high school, no one was wearing black or, you know, things like that. And it was considered inappropriate too.
Really?
Yeah, like to wear that seemed I shouldn't say inappropriate. It seemed edgy.
Oh, okay.
Right. You seemed kind of.
So you were like an outcast, like.
Right. Which I wasn't because I was at this like super preppy school. But because my black sweater had like a ball of flowers like on it someplace,
okay, so
right?
you
But it
were like
wasn't
that.
like all black, like goth. But then I'd have like some groovy, like all black. Like I'd be in all black, but there'd be like a pop someplace so that I didn't feel, I wasn't angry, right? I didn't look angry and dark and scary. But now I'm all for that. But anyhow, that was the thing because I remember I had a girlfriend's mom get really upset because I wanted to wear black to one of the dances. I got invited to prom like my sophomore year or whatever, and I wanted to wear black. And this friend, her mother, was so disapproving.
That you were going to wear a black dress?
That I was going to wear a black dress, like black. It was like black and something, like there was something other component to it. I don't remember. And this friend of mine, what's so funny is her mom also beat all these rules into her. You should have one fragrance so that everybody knows like your signature scent.
Coming and going.
Yeah, it's your signature scent. I forget all the rules. There were so many rules. Like, oh, you should have stationery. Now, you know, I'm a Jane Austen fan, big fan of the well-written letter and the well-timed letter, you know, in Persuasion and Pride and Prejudice, there's always a well-timed, thoughtful, provoking letter. So I'm all for stationery, but I don't think it's a rule that as a young woman, you have to have like your appropriate stationery. And that same friend, when she got married, before she'd walked down the aisle, already had her marriage like name on her stationery. It was so kooky, but it was because her mom had trained her that these were the rules of the road as a young woman. And she carried that forward. And it's funny because I think, you know, here I was thinking I was so mouthy and not following the rules. But of course I did follow. I mean, I certainly wasn't that rambunctious.
Did you wear that black dress to prom?
I did. And I wore the black to prom. I wore my black outfits. I mean, my mom was awesome. I used to do, before there was this like permanent color, I used to do these cellophanes in my hair, which would add like a hint of color that was like purple or whatever, because I had dark hair, so I could add like cool colors on top, and it would like beetle, like shine a certain
be more
color.
Iridescent.
So I would do those things, and I used to do eyeshadow, and it would always like I'd feather it way out, so it went from like one color, and it would feather out. So you'd start with one color on your inner corner of your eye, and then move out, and it would get really bright out here. And so I was always like doing stuff, and thankfully, I think probably because my parents thought, well, it's not permanent.
Right. It washes right off.
Washes off. Go like explore. And certainly I was always appropriate. I mean, I wasn't, you know, showing up. And it's like a work interview. I mean, that's where kind of rules are helpful, is understanding where you're going, what you're doing, how you're interviewing, who you're interviewing for. I was in the fashion industry for a long time. So you would never walk into an interview with, I don't know, Gucci carrying a Louis Vuitton bag.
Yeah.
You would never walk into your Chanel interview wearing, you know, something that was obviously another designer. Not that you could necessarily afford to deck yourself out in Chanel, but you wanted to be appropriately neutral so that they weren't aware of what you were wearing. And so obviously knowing your audience, I love that phrase. Like, you should know your audience, I think. But is that a rule? Does that feel like a rule? Does that feel really old school to you? I don't know. Maybe it's not like that anymore.
I don't know.
Right? I mean, I think still, no matter what, if you're going to go to an interview, if you're going to go, I don't know, meet the boyfriend's parents, or you're going to meet your in-laws for the first time, or whatever the case may be, I do think there is a certain bit of research that should go into that moment so that you don't go slamming into it and say something or look a certain way or behave a certain way.
And I guess because I change my hair color all the time, I do get a little nervous, like if I'm meeting somebody's parents, where I'm like, oh, who are your parents?
Right. Do I need to be concerned? And also, but that's an expression of you. So I don't know, that necessarily isn't a bad thing, but I don't know, it's like going to an interview in a cocktail dress.
Yeah.
Right? So not necessarily that that's a rule or that's wrong, but you should think about it.
Is that like leaving the best like impression?
Right. And is it what's going to get you the job?
Right.
Right. Is that really what they want to see? And honestly, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter a stitch. And that is something as women, I think we're constantly struggling with is that inner voice, that inner conversation of, you know, I did this a lot for work. I'd look at myself before I went to an interview. I'd think about all the rules and I'd think, okay, is this dress appropriately like professional, right? Is it professional enough? But then you'd go through this whole other list of things. Does it look too slutty?
Yes. Am I too revealing? Am I not revealing enough?
Right. And I certainly am not trying to not be feminine.
Yeah.
But like, for example, with me, I'm chesty. Okay. So I have to be really careful. There is a very fine line between wearing something that's like fitted and nice and it looking like I don't know, I belong at Hooters.
Yeah.
So there's
I feel that because I have like bigger hips. So when I used to work in like an office setting, I felt so self-conscious wearing like pencil skirts because it was just like,
it felt too much.
Yeah. Like I'm not being sexual in any way, but like I am just by existing.
Right. And it's funny because in all my interviewing and all the years that I was running around in the fashion business, it's funny because they would hire and fire in fashion if you weren't the right size.
Really?
If you didn't have the right handbag.
You could lose your job for not, no.
You couldn't lose it, but certainly if you weren't rocking the party line, meaning like you were carrying the appropriate stuff, you were like all that stuff. And there are certain companies, when you get far enough up in the company, there was a standard of a discretionary slush fund for some of the senior executive women, where if you wanted to get a nose job, a boob job, lipo, whatever, there was a little bit of a slush fund that was set aside for you to cosmetically maintain yourself.
No.
Yeah. So I don't know if those still exist in the days of, kind of post 2007, 8, 9, when the market kind of tanked for luxury. But that did exist in certain companies because they wanted their women to maintain and look a certain way. So, everyone talks about the airline industry for women and how like, this horrible, they shouldn't be. But, there are brands out there that still, I think, was it Abercrombie and Fitch? They got nailed for, only hiring, models for during the day. And then everybody else at night to stock the floor. And I don't know that I'm upset with the fact that I don't really care, to be honest, in the sense that if that's your brand image and that's what you're doing and you're transparent about it. Look, I knew if I went to certain fashion houses and I was looking for a job in their ready-to-wear department, you know what? I'm not for example, I worked at Barney's. Everyone there was kind of a beautiful person. And when they brought in, I believe it was Richard Tyler, did this gorgeous wedding dress collection. It was stunning, stunning. Oh my gosh, dove grays and soft whites and just gorgeous. So Visual was going to do a big thing on the main floor that I managed. Yeah. And they were going to do this big thing with all these mannequins. And then Barney's mannequins, as you know, were like very willowy. I don't know if you've ever seen them. They're like silver and white and kind of willowy. And they didn't have hair and their heads were just these like suggestions. The mannequins were too chunky for the dresses.
Oh my God.
At Barney's, New York. So,
and the mannequins are already what? Like,
like nothing.
Yeah.
So you think about that and you think about what that's doing to women. And one of the things that happened, I remember, I don't know, well, they're closed. It doesn't matter. I can't get in trouble. They did this thing. They did a launch that was, basically, there was always this feedback at Barney's that we didn't have clothes for larger women. And when I say larger, let me clarify.
Like a size 10?
Yeah. Like a size 10.
Us?
Yeah, like me. So there were, and think about it this way. most women who have the disposable income to spend at a place like that are going to be slightly older. They're not 16, they're not 18,
Right.
they're not 22, unless they're from, I mean, it's all 1%ers that shop there anyhow, but still, you've got women who've had babies and kids, and they're not all like that tiny, you know, single digits. So I'll never forget the buying department very happily called a meeting. They were so excited to announce to the store that they'd launched this line. And I think like Cindy Crawford was going to be the model for it. It was going to be stunning and amazing. And it was called Procreation. And they had really cool stretchy clothes. And it was meant for the super fashionable mom who was pregnant.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Procreation,
so procreation. And so you could have leather jeans and leather pants that had like stretchy bits. And so you could still be very cool and New Yorky, but be pregnant.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And at the end of the whole thing, they were like, we're launching this line. It's going to be amazing. Blah, blah, blah. And they said, so for everybody who has clients who are upset that they don't have clothes to wear at Barney's,
they expected you to
there.
No
joke. No joke.
So, their answer to sizing regular sized women was maternity.
Yeah. You know, as an ancillary benefit to having a maternity line, P.S. your chubby clients
can
fit into them as well. Because that's the same shape. Yeah. Clearly.
Mm-hmm. That's where everyone carries all their weight.
Oh my God.
It's right in their belly.
Right in their belly, because that's how that works. So whatever. So I don't know how we got off on this tangent, but it was crazy. And it was funny because, you know, I've been in that world for so long. Yeah. And there was this layer of like, are you appropriate? Are you wearing the clothes? Yeah. If you go to the interview, if you weren't the right size, if you weren't the right look, you would get this feedback through your recruiter or whomever that like, oh, wow. Like, or your handbag was really out of season or your whatever. And so that would cause them to rethink. And it was just very funny to me. And so
I would have never survived.
Oh, well, and I think that's why I think about rules so much, because there are certain rules that I think are valuable to understand.
Yes.
And if you choose not to follow them, then certainly you have to understand that there may be some pushback. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I could have starved myself and ate parsley and been a teeny tiny size, and many of my New York City boyfriends can attest that was not how I lived my life, between cocktails and hitting serendipity for frozen hot chocolate. But, you know, and Thai food. God, I miss Thai food. Sorry. Oh, that was just like a moment there. Sorry. But
no, you talk about Thai food
I know. I lived so close to a really good Thai food place. But yeah, I knew that going in.
Yeah.
So I could at least understand.
Yeah.
And so I could modify what I could. And then if they were going to be those people, that was on them, right? Mm-hmm. So I was going to be myself. And if that was going to be how they judge me, then that was their standard. They're a private company. They can do whatever they want.
Right.
So I think it behooves us to understand the rules. And in the world of makeup, I think it behooves us to understand, hey, makeup wipes, not an official cleanser.
No.
But you know what I do like? Sometimes if you fall asleep in a little bit of your makeup, you look super rock and roll in the morning.
Oh, you do.
You look so rock and roll.
It's like it's a nice, like, sexy look to wake up to.
Oh my gosh,
You're
it's
like,
amazing.
Oh, and then especially because your hair is a little tossed.
Yeah, right? It's like amazing. Your eyes are a little smudgy, and it feels like when you wake up and you see that, you feel like you've really had a good night.
Although today, when I woke up, I will say my hair literally was just complete. I looked like Albert Einstein. I fell asleep with my hair in a ponytail.
Oh, that's why.
But like it just I looked like a lion. It was cool though.
Well, see,
I didn't know I had that much hair.
I always look a bit like a hot mess in the morning because I've got that like super curly, frizzy.
Yeah.
I beat it into submission if you can't tell. This is about as straight as it gets, unless I do keratin.
Oh yeah,
mm-hmm. And then it's
done
okay.
Those in a while because of everything.
Well, because my hair's fried right now because I bleached it and I don't know, whatever. So it's super fried. So I've got to stick with a color for a minute. So get ready, everybody. I'm going to be red copper for a hot minute. So if you don't like it, don't know what to say. But yeah, I think the rules are there for a good reason on some level. But I think being a rule breaker is a really amazing place to live, because if you're not doing it irresponsibly, and if you're not doing it out of anger, right?
Yeah.
If you're doing it because you're expressing, hey, tattoos. I got a tattoo recently. You have a lot of tattoos. Look, if you walked into a job with a full sleeve of tattoos and you needed to go work at, I don't know, a conservative company.
Yeah.
They might not hire you unless you cover it up.
Not the last job I had before I came to work with you, but the job before that, I had a nose piercing, like just one of the little nostril ones, right? And I almost didn't get the job because of that, because I was going to be like the
face or whatever.
Yeah, and they were just like, yeah, we don't know, like. That just seems like a lot. I was like, literally, you can't even tell I have it.
Right. But okay, I can take that out. I mean,
and now I have pink and purple hair. And,
right. I know. But you found your groove. And,
True.
Right. So you have to find where you fit. And it's kind of square peg round hole. Mm-hmm. You have to understand if you're going after something that doesn't fit your personality, that's fine. Yeah. But recognize that you're going to have to change some things about your personality to accomplish that. Right.
Yeah.
I realized, we have not talked about our title sponsor.
Oh, wow.
Or our Easter egg of a gift promo code today.
Yes.
So London Beauty in Brighton, Michigan, and online, londonbeautyonline.com is our title sponsor. They focus on hard to find, super indie, really great brands that usually you can only find in the big cities. Mm-hmm. But they are here in the Midwest with a Midwestern voice and a Midwestern attitude, and all the really great stuff. So London Beauty is the title sponsor. We have a promo code from them today that is
Rule Breaker 10.
Rule Breaker 10, because we're rule breakers and we love to break the rules. So be a little bit of a rule breaker and order some stuff online.
Get you 10% off.
Get your 10% off. There's a sale going on now.
Yeah, all of our sale starts at $10.
Amazing.
Which is crazy.
And it's going really fast, actually.
It really is. All those Smith & Colt nail polishes, like every day we sell.
And Lucky
out of,
Chick lipsticks, which have such a great wear time.
Lucky Chick. I had those Henry Charles makeup bags, which I'm kind of sad about.
I know. I wanted the big one gone. I wanted the pencil case or the brush case gone. It's gone. I think there might be one, but first coffee. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're running out of a ton of stuff, but it's a great time to grab stuff. Or if you're a makeup artist, it's a great time to grab a color that you might.
We have a few foundations.
A few foundations that are a little darker. So if you have clients or people who have, darker skin, it's a great time to grab that. But Rule Breaker 10, don't forget it. Go shop, londonbeautyonline.com. And, this has been the Beauty Underground. We could go on about this forever.
I have one more.
What is it?
Well, I have two more.
Okay.
So one is, I feel like, and I was told this a lot in like esthetician schools too. Like they're like, as soon as you turn, I think she's always said like 19 was when you should start using anti-aging products, which to a certain degree, I also believe and support and am all for.
I mean, but it's not anti-aging. It's just skincare.
Yeah. But the best anti-aging tool I believe that you can have is just straight up sunscreen. Because like sunscreen, you literally don't notice it until you start having, or sun damage. You don't notice it until you have those dark spots and fine lines. And and then you can't do anything. So the best like prevention, you should just be preventing more than you're treating your skin. So before you start to see those dark spots, you should have already been using sunscreen.
And I see that's the advantage of your generation is there's so much access and knowledge. So, if I even go back to my mother's generation, they were out there with like iodine and like mirrors trying to get like a hot
My
tan.
mom, I remember, always used to use that like Avon Skin So Soft.
Oh my gosh.
And she would lay out on our roof.
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Although I have a very good friend. His name is Harold, and he lives in New York, and he always suntans on what he lovingly calls, he'll say, I'm going to Tar Beach today. And he goes on his roof and he suntans. And he's German.
Does he still do it?
Yeah, he's German. And so he has that fair skin and light hair.
Yeah.
But man, does he get a tan, and he gets super tan in the summer, and he goes to Tar Beach. He goes to Tar Beach, which is really funny. Yeah.
I
So
do
what's
not
your other
support
one?
that, Harold.
I do not support that, Harold.
I just need you to know.
Amelia is telling you no.
The last one is, I guess it's not really a rule, but I hear people come in sometimes and they're like, oh, I don't need a new cleanser. I make my cleanser. Or I don't need that. I don't know.
Whatever.
I can't think of
Yeah.
anything. Moisturizer. I make my own beauty oil. I know we've talked about it before, but I'm just going to say it again. You're not a chemist. So like leave it to these brands who have spent like millions of dollars creating these formulas.
Well, you know what? We can actually
also, by the time you go on and like go to like the vitamin store and like
it's more
spend all this
expensive.
money,
Yeah.
you're spending so much more money than if you were just to go to London Beauty.
Well, yes, go to London Beauty and talk to the girls. And the thing that's funny is, so as a teaser, actually, we are going to have Province Apothecary and the founders, Natalie and Julie, on our show.
Next week.
They're wonderful partners. They found each other kind of through their love of skincare and have created this wonderful brand. And they're going to be on, next week. Next week, right? No, not next week. It's going to be, it's going to be in, no. It's going to be in a couple Thursdays.
Oh. Okay. So one of the future episodes.
One of the future episodes, I think it's like 2 Thursdays out. They're going to join us and they'll be talking about how she did start crafting in her kitchen, but she did tons and tons of research before she just started doing things.
Together.
And it was in response to an actual problem. So we'll get into that, which I think I'm super excited about.
She does have a really cool like
founder story. Yeah, for sure. And I love both of them. They're Canadian. They couldn't be like sweeter people. I just adore them both so much. So I can't wait for them to be on. So that's a little teaser of things to come. We have a few other founders coming too. So lots of fun interviews.
Yes.
And I guess that's it.
Yeah.
That's peace out from the Beauty Underground. What a fun episode today. And I will try to not feel like a pug.
Yeah, I don't know. You don't look like a pug.
My lack of neck. It's my lack of neck. Like, I need to be those women that have those like rings.
Stop. That looks
All right, y'all. So we will see you in a week. Talk to you in a week. Always feel free to DM us on Instagram, reach out, send us emails. We love to hear from you.
Yeah.
All right.
Have a good week.
Have a good week. Peace out.
Bye.